Hello everyone, welcome to the Scumdogs Kennel. I'm your host, Chris Williams, and in today's Cryptid Corner mini-episode, I have numerous signs of strange lights, both UFO and possibly even spiritual or even ghostly. In this first article we'll be reading, titled, Plasma-like UFO hovers over Naples, Florida after Hurricane Ian. You will hear exactly what was seen. A Naples, Florida family observed and recorded a luminous object hovering in the night sky one day after a hurricane. Ian devastated southwest Florida. What initially appeared to be a bright dancing star reportedly changed color, shifted shape, and moved erratically for approximately 40 to 45 minutes before descending behind the trees. Now, let's read the actual account, folks. In the own words, the witness wrote down, and hear exactly what happened. Now, here's a picture, folks. This is a good representation of what basically the witness saw. It might not actually be the actual picture, but we'll learn about that, as we read the article. The initial sighting. I live in Naples, Florida. As you know, Hurricane Ian struck our area on Wednesday and caused widespread destruction. My home is a few miles inland from the coast, so the storm surge did not reach us. However, we experienced extremely high winds, heavy rain, and power outages. On Thursday night, my 19-year-old daughter and I stepped outside our condominium to walk our dogs. I noticed what appeared to be a bright star above and beyond the small wooded area behind our building. The light was in the direction of Fort Myers, which had been hit even harder than Naples. It seemed to move slightly and jump around like a firefly. So this, whatever it was, behaved like a living entity, folks. It could have been maybe ball lightning or maybe some sort of atmospheric effect we don't know or really realize that can actually happen. There's still a lot we don't know about the world. But it could also be that these people sighted an actual UFO. Now, let's read on. Multiple witnesses observed the object. I took out my phone and attempted to record it, although I did not do a very good job. My daughter and I watched it for several minutes before my adult son came outside. My wife then joined us and began recording it. My daughter also recorded the object. The entire time we watched it, the light appeared to jerk and move around in the sky. As I said, folks, it sounds like it was moving like a living organism, almost like basically a literal firefly, only this seems to have been too big to actually be a firefly, folks. It could be that this was some sort of drone designed or basically controlled to behave like basically an actual insect. That's a good idea here, folks. Maybe this was a practical joke by someone with a drone who was flying erratically to basically hoax people. Perhaps. Now, let's read further. A closer look at the recordings. At the time, it simply looked like a dancing star. It was only later, while reviewing the recordings, that my daughter zoomed in and noticed something unusual. The object appeared almost plasma-like. It may have been spinning and seemed to change shape slightly. Different colors also appeared to be faintly radiating from it. The photograph is a zoomed-in still frame taken from one of the recordings. So this wasn't a mock-up, folks, like sometimes we, look at in these kinds of videos, but an actual still frame from the video. Too bad they didn't include a link to the video so we could basically, view it, and I could have put it in my video, folks. Either way, fascinating articles so far, folks. Was this an actual UFO? Maybe it was basically some sort of UFO drone as well. Some sort of mechanical device, even though it looked like it was completely made of light. And it might have been basically searching for something and taking in the surroundings, I guess. But let's continue once again and get further into the article. The object descends. We observed the object for approximately 40 to 45 minutes. During that time, we moved from the ground level to the second story of our building. We then watched it from the lanai behind our condominium. Eventually, we became tired of watching it and went back inside. A few minutes later, my younger daughter and I checked again. The object was still visible, but it appeared lower in the sky. Several minutes after that, my son looked outside and said it had descended below the tree line. At that point, it was essentially out of sight. Now, I think what they meant by lanai, perhaps the patio, yeah, behind their condominium or something else, folks, because I'm not quite sure what a Illini is, or even how to pronounce it. Either way, the object, as I said, folks, was visible, and these people were able to basically, well, take video of it. But let's read some possible explanations for it. I do not know what to make of what we observed. I have read that the military has experimented with plasma technology, so I suppose that could be a possible explanation. I am a Christian, and I have also wondered whether it could have been an angel or some form of ultra-terrestrial presence. Another possibility is that it was a natural electrical phenomenon associated with the hurricane. Yeah, as I said, folks, remember I mentioned earlier some sort of phenomena we just don't understand. It could have been that. Now, the recordings are generally short, approximately 2 to 3 minutes each. I would be willing to provide one of the videos for further examination. And I hope he does provide the videos, folks, because I would love to see them for myself. Exactly the whole video that single shot actually came from, and see it as it actually moved. Until I do, folks, all I can say is that maybe there's a possibility that still frame could have been faked. If I watched the whole video, folks, maybe I would still come to the same conclusion, or maybe watching the entire video, it would change my mind. Either way, let's now turn our eyes to the next story, which is named Mysterious Orb Flash Leaves Witnesses Seen Perfect Dots in Galesburg, Illinois, and read about this other possible UFO or even, I guess, ghostly encounter. A Galesburg, Illinois resident awoke during the early morning hours and noticed a small flash of light near the bedroom door. When the witness closed their eyes, more than a dozen evenly spaced points of light appeared across their vision, while a nearby baby monitor may have recorded an unusual object at approximately the same time. So, this was in multiple rooms, folks, that this phenomena was taking place. Could it have been some sort of electrical disturbance? If so, you'd think it would have basically set fire to the house. Either way, now, let's read on into the full story. An awakening during the night. Hello, this is not the only unusual experience I've had. I have experienced at least one other incident with some strange similarities and several significant differences. This most recent occurrence happened during the night of June 19th into the early morning of June 20th. I do not know exactly when I woke up, but based on the video recording I later reviewed, I believe it was around 3:13 a.m. I was extremely tired, but I was awake enough to know that my daughter was safe and sleeping beside me. My dog was not giving me any indication that he needed to go outside. I considered getting up to see whether he wanted to go out anyway. I sometimes do that because I am a UFO enthusiast and occasionally look outside during the night. However, I was so tired that I decided to go back to sleep and take advantage of the peace and quiet. Good for you, man. You should basically enjoy your nights occasionally and not have to worry about anything. At least that's what I think, folks. But apparently this was going to be anything but that. Let's read on. The flash near the door. I do not know whether I felt compelled to look toward the bedroom door or whether I simply looked there reflexively. Whatever the reason, I turned my attention toward the door. The moment I looked over, a small bright flash of light blinked at me. At first, I do not believe what I had seen. I relaxed back down and attempted to fall asleep. Now, we have to ask, folks, like with various UFO encounters, did he really decide to fall back to sleep really of his own accord, or did he just feel compelled to, and he thinks that he just decided himself just to fall asleep after this weird phenomena? Even though the idea that basically he just would want to go back to sleep after seeing this weird light, well, and especially after he basically said he was a UFO enthusiast, you'd think this would have made him jump up and study what he had just experienced, isn't it, folks? But it does seem sincerely that he just wanted to go back to sleep. Now, let's read on. The pattern of dots. When I closed my eyes, my entire field of vision lit up with more than a dozen small polka dot-shaped after images. It was as though someone had held a small but powerful flashlight directly in front of my face and repeatedly switched it on and off in several different positions. There were more than 12 distinct orbs. They were scattered across my vision, but they appeared to be evenly spaced. At that point, I was mesmerized. I fully believed there was an alien inside my room, despite my, or basically any other way to describe it, the excitement of that possibility, I remained remarkably calm. I felt as though everything was all right and that it was safe for me to drift back to sleep. As I said, folks, that is insane. Why would you just go back to sleep? Especially if you think it was generally aliens. I would have thought they were trying to contact me, folks. Or the possibility still stands that this was some sort of ghostly encounter, an encounter with spirits and stuff like that. So why would you go back to sleep? It's just an idea that boggles my mind, folks. But we can discuss, as I've said so many times before, that later. Let's continue with this story. Reviewing the baby monitor. I believe in otherworldly phenomena, and I believe there may be an effort to conceal the truth about some of it. However, I had never accepted the idea of spirit orbs, orb summoning, or people summoning unidentified craft. After this experience, I no longer doubt that some type of orb phenomena is real and capable of interacting with people. I also cannot dismiss the possibility that certain individuals may be able to access or attract these phenomena. We use a blank camera as a baby monitor. The following morning, I carefully reviewed the video clips recorded during the night. I found footage that I believe may show the phenomena appearing on camera. Good for you. It's sad that you didn't basically upload stills for basically us all to view as well, folks, like the last article did. But maybe he will eventually, folks, with an update to the story. Now, let's continue. Most people will probably say that it was dust. However, considering what I experienced and the unusual way the object appeared, I am convinced that the video shows something more than an ordinary dust particle. I have since reviewed other recordings from the same camera to determine whether similar objects commonly appear. The camera occasionally records dust and insects, but I have never seen anything quite like this. I may be placing too much importance on the video because of what happened to me. I understand that I am personally biased after such an intense experience. Still, several details in the recording appear unusual and may suggest that something unexplained was present. Thank you for reading my account. Indeed, folks, there might have been something inside his house, folks. Something that basically none of us can explain. Was it aliens? Was it ghosts? We just don't know, folks. This phenomena is still unknown, but does sound similar to, as I said before, folks, ball lightning or just encounters with UFOs that people have had. Either way, here's a little more information. The American Academy of Ophthalmology explains that visual flashes can originate from, inside the eye and advises attention to certain flashes, especially when accompanied by new floaters or changes in vision. It also describes after images as visual impressions that may remain after the original stimulus is removed. Peer-reviewed sleep research describes hypnopompic experiences as vivid perceptions occurring during the first seconds or minutes after awakening. Such experiences may include environmental imagery, unusual sensory impressions, or a sensed presence. Blank confirms that its indoor cameras use infrared night vision and allow adjustment or infrared illumination intensity. Infrared illumination can produce glare and other recurring complications depending on the camera's environment and placement. Security camera manufacturers and photographic references describe how dust, pollen, moisture, insects, and other nearby particles can reflect infrared illumination into a camera lens, creating bright circular or orb-shaped artifacts. Galesburg is located in Knox County, Illinois, and serves as a county seat. So yeah, people can have mysterious lights appear before their eyes, folks. And the old movie, Phenomena, from the 90s, even mentions that basically certain diseases can cause flashes of light, folks. That sounds similar to this. But was that what happened here? It doesn't sound like basically our experiencer was sick or basically had basically anything wrong with his house. At least he didn't mention that, folks. So it makes me think that this phenomena could either have been a hallucination or a real phenomena we, as I said, do not understand truly and might even be intelligent. But either way, folks, phenomenal stories. What are these energy beings? Are they actually intelligent or not? Are they alien? We don't know. But we're at the end, folks, so please go subscribe to my YouTube channel. Read comics, they're bad for you. You can use the YouTube link down below in the descriptions or the chat to go subscribe to me. Hit that like button for me. Make sure you're still subscribed. Leave some comments down below. Hit that bell for notifications. Make sure to hit the part of the bell that give you all future notifications, and please share this video out. I'm Chris Williams from the Scumdogs Kennel. Thank you all for joining me. I'll be back again tomorrow with another great video, so be sure to come back again then. Until next time, folks, I'll see you all again soon.